Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're back on GT Sport and we're back with the FIA Manufacturers round number 4 at Catalunya in the Group 3 car. So you can see, starting from pole position, managed to get pole position just about on my final lap. This was because Bears, who was in this race, on my first lap, he came out the pits about 4 or 5 seconds in front of me, obviously doing an out lap, gone in for fresh tyres. And then getting towards the end of the lap, I caught him up and he just stayed right in the middle of the track and completely wrecked my lap. I was really annoyed. I was very annoyed with what he did, to be fair. You know, if you're on an out lap and you see a car behind you on a fast lap, it's advisable you try and get out of the way. And he did it right on the corner. It really did frustrate me. So had to basically go for one run, exactly the same as the Nations race at Fuji, where couldn't really go 100%, had to just try and make sure I get a lap in. Luckily managed to get a fairly solid lap in. It was I think it was a 44.9, just about getting pole position by a few attempts. But like I said, I would have liked to have pushed a little bit harder, but without putting a base lap in, wasn't able to go for that ultimate lap again. Not really my fault this time though, it's because I actually got held up, and it was actually a fairly solid lap that I got held up on my first run, so was a bit frustrated at that, but these things happen. So still starting from pole position in a very strong lobby. This lobby actually was 2,700 points, I think it was, for the win, which was really quite big points considering. And to be pole position on this was actually a really big opportunity to get a lot of points. However, I did know obviously the Porsche's weakness was down the straights, and if this track is very based on slipstream, you can stay with cars quite easily in the slipstream. You do suffer a lot of tyre wear when behind though, that's the only issue. But I was hoping I could maybe get out in front and try and pull away. However, the Mercedes behind me, a very strong car at this track also. So I think the best race cars was probably the Mercedes. The Porsche is a very good race car if it doesn't get stuck in traffic and obviously wear its tyres out with it being MR. It does tend to, if you try and push too hard, it does start spinning them rears up and cause a lot of issues. But you can see, starting from the replay camera, managing to get away, and just about, I felt like I was safe, so I didn't need to go defensive. You can see Calster going for a move round the outside of Mac, and he actually makes that move done because of the severe speed of that Lamborghini. That Lamborghini is one of the fastest cars in this game now with the BOP change. It's just so fast down the straights. It's an absolute monster down the straights. You can't defend from it. You can't get past it, especially if you're in a Porsche like myself. Even in the slipstream, you just can't get past it. It's near enough impossible. But managing to hold on to P1 and try to really go for it on the outlap, you could see really pushing these tyres because I wanted to break the slipstream. I actually got a bit of oversteer there, taking wear out the tyres, which I didn't want to do, but obviously trying to be aggressive. I wanted to break the slipstream and actually driving a little bit too aggressive. Like I said in, I think it was the track guide, sometimes smoother is faster at this track, and I should have really been bearing that in mind, but I was really just trying to push a little bit too hard. You can see the opposite Lockhart's putting through the corner there. You could see the steering wheel working, and you can see the front wheels actually moving about where I'm trying to really push too hard, really. Not really gaining much time. You can see Calster's obviously in that slipstream. As soon as we get to the straights, with the slipstream, that Lamborghini is scary fast. There's just no words to describe how fast. I think it's up there with the Ford GT in terms of straight line speed. I think it's definitely faster than the Golf. It's insane down the straights. So it's quite worrying how close he was to me at this point. I was quite worried. You can see through the corners I'm able to get a bit of a gap again, but then going into this corner I actually made him hit the curb too hard on the entry to the corner. You can see how hard I hit that, far too aggressive on it. Managed to get the second part okay, but he'd already caught up to me massively. But another thing as well, that Lamborghini seemed to have really good gearing for certain corners, because you can see the speed that comes out the corner. I'm going to try and go defensive on the inside, but I pretty much knew at this point I wasn't going to be able to defend from this, because look at the Lamborghini just come up beside me. I'm going to go over to the left hand side and try and squeeze him down the left to try and give myself an inside line and some sort of angle into the corner. I actually managed to brake quite late there, but Calster tries to hold it around the outside, and there's a bit of contact there. I did expect him to back out a little bit more than that, but it's racing, and a slight bit of contact. And then going through the really fast right hand corner, you can see the rears already going on that Lamborghini. It's pretty similar to the Porsche already. I think the outlap I drove a little bit too aggressive, but straight away wanted to try and go around the outside and get back past him, because I felt like that Lamborghini was going to hold me up when the tyre wear kicks in. And you can see the oversteer moments that I'm picking up, just about holding on. And I really should have went for that there. That is one move where I think I should have went for it. When I watched this back during the race, I thought I can't risk that. with the new penalty system. But I kind of wish I would have gone for that. At that point there, I think there was a move on, and I should have really tried to fight it back and squeeze Calcer to the outside. But I didn't. I let him go. I let him have that position and tucked back in behind. But you can see straight away, trying to drive aggressive. You can see how much oversteer moments I'm getting when following Calcer in this Lamborghini. You can see, having a look up the inside, no way I can make a move there. I'm just trying to make the car shown to let him know that I'm, obviously trying to get past, put him under some pressure. You can see Calcer doing a great job at the moment in that Lamborghini. First 2 laps, to be honest, with the hard tyre, the Lamborghini does suffer with tyre wear. However, for the first 3 or 4 laps, the Lamborghini was actually fairly okay on the tyres. And the problem that I was having was the fact that I was stuck so close behind Calcer and not really thinking of my tyres. At this point, I'm just trying to get as close to him as possible to get back past him, because I didn't want to get held up when his tyres start going. And you can see, look at the acceleration difference out of that corner. The gearings really do make a difference for certain cars on certain tracks. And you can see now, even though I'm in the slipstream, there's no real gain down the straights. The Porsche just doesn't have the legs. You can see, I think I gained half a tenth on the whole straight. So quite a big difference between the Porsche and the Lamborghini on straight line speed, as Mac nearly outbrakes himself into turn 1, nearly clips the rear of the car, but just about gets away with that. And going to just try and catch back up to Calcer now through the corners. You can see when we're in the slipstream though, look at the oversteer moments of Porsche again, having to put a little bit of correction in, and again not really thinking of the tyre wear. I was just in the zone of trying to get back past Calcer as soon as possible, because I felt if I get past at this phase of the race on lap 3 and 4, I'm going to pull away because of the tyre wear issues that the Lamborghini will start suffering with. And then obviously it'll be a pit stop phase, and then I can just do the same again. I just really wanted to try and get past and break the slipstream, but you can see every time I'm getting close to him with the dirty air, the car is just oversteering, then understeering, then oversteering, and I'm just really struggling, to be honest. The tyres, it felt like they were already going on lap 3, which is not good. I think it's something that I really should have thought about a bit more, but the problem that I had was, obviously I've got Mac behind me and a Mercedes pushing, so I can't really afford to back out and look after the tyres, because if I back out too much, he's going to get past me and then I'm down to P3, and that's not where I want to be. But again, through the corner, Calcer really struggling now with that Lamborghini. You can see how he's having to do different lines to try and avoid the wheels spinning up on the rear. He's doing a great job in that. I'm having a little look around the outside. I was thinking, could I get around the outside there? But I wasn't able to get around the outside. Just trying to look at any opportunity to get past to see where that Lamborghini is weak. Trying my best to find any sort of space on the track to get the car around the outside, but it's just not really working at the moment. Going through the final corner this time, a little bit of oversteer moment there for myself, but managed to stay with it a bit better. You can see in the slipstream, but again, you can see the delta's just not going down. It's going down by such small amounts compared to when the Lamborghini was behind me and it just flew past. And that shows you where the Porsche's weakness is straight line speed, and it really does affect it in the race conditions like this, when you really need to get past and take advantage of the cornering speed, but you then can't do it because you're stuck behind the car in front. You can see going through the really fast right hand corner, this was a corner that was killing the rear left tyre. It was really taking a lot of wear from that tyre and causing the oversteer moments as I try and go really wide around. You can see I'm trying to find some space in the track to maybe widen the line to get a better exit on the corner. I'm trying everything I can. You see again looking around that wide line there, having a little look up the inside, but too far back and just not able to go for any sort of move. And again, getting so close to Calcer on the corner there, but again on the acceleration, the Lamborghini then just extends that lead, and there's just nothing you can do. You literally, it's just a yo-yo effect. We get to the corners, I catch up, but then I'm stuck. I get dirty air coming out the exit of the corners, then the Lamborghini just pulls away, and it's really frustrating, I have to say. I really wanted to get past him. You can see how aggressive I'm driving. Another massive oversteer moment where I pushed him really hard on that fast right hand corner, but again not able to really make any sort of move into the braking zone because just not close enough to Calcer. You can see I'm putting him under a lot of pressure. I'm getting close, but again, it's just all down to the power of that Lamborghini. There's nothing you can really do at this stage of the race. It's such a wide car as well that as soon as he gets on the power, there's just not really, and I can't just throw it up the inside because there's only one real overtaking opportunity into turn 1, and that's really a proper overtaking opportunity. But again, I just couldn't get close enough to that Lamborghini on the straights. You can see the straight line difference. As again, going through that final corner now, Calcer gets a lot of oversteer. He's actually going to have to go defensive this time. He realises that, goes to the right hand side of the track, picking up the slipstream, just gradually getting closer. But you can see I'm having to stay in that slipstream. Mac behind just pulls out, but I'd stay in that slipstream as long as possible. Tried to go around the outside here, you can see there, but Calcer then just clipped the front right hand tyre part of my car again, but nothing massive. just where he's just defending the line, and again trying to go really wide through the initial part of the corner to get really tight on the exit. You can see I managed to do that, getting close to the inside. Kauster's going to go defensive. You see he cuts across the right hand side. I'm going to try and brake really late round the outside and just try and get past on this lap before the pit stop. You can see going side by side, I have a massive oversteer moment mid corner, drifting through the corner but trying to hold it, and again the drift just cost me the ability to get past, and without that drift I think we would have got ourselves into the lead and maybe have been able to pull out before the pit stop phase. So another frustrating moment where I was just trying so hard to get past. I was trying everything I had, but again, you know, round the outside there is really difficult, especially with the tyre wear as severe it is for this. It was times 15, so whenever you're doing moments like that where you're spinning the rears, and you can see how much life I've took out of these tyres stuck in Kauster's dirty air. The rear left after 5 laps is not looking very healthy already, so this was going to be a difficult one for the second stint. If it's the same situation stuck behind Kauster, it's going to be really difficult to keep this car on the track because it was really chewing its tyres up in this. When you're on your own in clean air in the Porsche, driving nice and smooth, it's one of the best, probably the best or one of the best cars on tyre. I think the Mercedes is probably a bit better. However, when you're stuck in traffic like this and the rear starts kicking out, it absolutely destroys them tyres. You can see how bad they are. Going into the pits now, this is going to be close again, trying to be aggressive on the pit entry. You see Kauster really getting a good exit on that corner, or everyone widening the line into the pit entry, trying to get as much speed as possible as we go in the pits. Fuel, no issue obviously for this, so straight onto the tyres, then straight off of the no fueling. One thing I'm not sure about is how, if you check in the pits, I think Mack went in P3 and there was another car behind him, then Tidgney in P5. However, as we come out of the pits, you have a little look now, we see Tidgney is actually, as we pull away now, we're going to see on the camera there that Mack and Tidgney are basically right next to each other. Somehow Tidgney gained about 1.5 seconds in the pits. I have no idea how it happened. I mean, I know there's an issue with the Mercedes sometimes where it bogs down on pit exit, but I have no idea what happened there. But Tidgney managed to gain about 1.5 seconds to nearly 2 seconds on everyone else in the pit stop. Maybe, I just don't know, maybe it's the acceleration of the Audi. There's something there. I think it could be something with a random pit stop where pit stop times are not always exactly the same, maybe. Who knows, but somehow he managed to jump quite a few cars, so that's a bonus for Tidgney. And now again, we're now doing the longest stint. I really wanted to get past Kauster. You can see obviously at this part of the race now, first 2 laps isn't really the best opportunity because the Lamborghini is very strong on the first 2 laps. It's a really fast car at Catalunya. However, once that tyre wear kicks in, that Lamborghini will start suffering. Again, obviously he's got to do 6 laps on this stint, so you can see driving quite wide there, just about staying in the track limits, and all the cars, look how close this racing is. This is halfway through the race and it's still really close, but obviously we say halfway through the race, but we've still only done 5.5 laps. This is the only issue with GT Sport. We would rather be racing longer races where, you know, 5 laps into a race is early stages really, but with the way GT Sport do the races, it's actually halfway through. So coming through to the start of lap 7 now it is, I think it is, and getting fairly close to Kauster there. Back markers starting to catch him, but they're going to go in the pits on this lap, so he's not going to get the benefit of that slipstream down the straight. Getting fairly close on the exit, but both of us able to put maximum throttle in with obviously the grip now on the tyres with the fresh tyres on, and then working our way down the straight into turn 1. You can see Kauster not needing to go defensive at all because the sheer speed of that Lamborghini, and you can see building a bit of a gap up to Tidgney. However, I knew that Lamborghini was going to start holding me up, and I wanted to get past him as soon as possible, so need to go aggressive now. This is the phase where we got the outlap done. The best of the grip for the Lamborghini has now disappeared, and now this is where I needed to put some pressure on. You can see getting very close again to that Lamborghini. Had a little look up the inside there, was thinking about it, but just not close enough. I was just literally fractions off being close enough. Tried to get really tight on the inside there again, trying to find ways, going wide again, seeing if I can make a dive up the inside, but just not close enough. It was just so frustrating because I just needed to have that little bit more acceleration to make a move, and it just wasn't there. And the Lamborghini was just so quick in through 2nd, 3rd and 4th gear. It was just such a strong car, but obviously the tyre wear is going to kick into that Lamborghini and it's going to be struggling towards the end. So I was trying to be aggressive because, again, I wanted to get past, because if I can get past at this phase, the Lamborghini is then going to hold the other cars up, and it would be a fairly comfortable win because the pace I had in this Porsche was really strong. I showed it in qualifying. Obviously, when I had a clear track, the pace was 100% there. It's just a case of getting stuck behind a car like the Lamborghini, which is so quick down the straights but not particularly great through the corners. You can see how frustrating it is getting so close to the rear of Kauster. trying again to look down that left to see if there's, and then to the right to see if there's a possibility. I was getting really frustrated, I have to say, and I think I was probably using up a little bit more tyre wear than I should have been. I was driving a bit too aggressive, but like I say, you've got to be aggressive, I feel, in these FIA events to get the results, but sometimes it can work against you being aggressive. As a moment of overset again on that final corner already, and we're not very long into this stint on these tyres, so it was going to be a little bit worrying as we're now picking up the slipstream. Calcer went defensive, but he's realised he doesn't really need to. I have a little look down the right side. Could I make a dive? I wanted to have a little look just to see the gap and realise I was too far back to make a dive there. There was no way I was going to make that into the corner and get past theirs. Again, trying to line it up for something different again, but again, oversteer when we're in that dirty air. Trying my best to get the power to the rear tyres and getting onto the throttle as early as possible to make a possible move into this right hand corner, but again, too far back. But in the braking zone, getting very close. Calster doing a very, very good job in that Lamborghini, but the massive moment of oversteer mid-corner there, managed to save it just about and not lose too much time. So you can see he's really starting to hold me up now. This is a phase now. 3 laps into the first 2 laps, Calster's the Lamborghini wasn't really holding me up. It was really solid, but then I think lap 3 started to hold me up, but then a massive moment of oversteer. I got the right hand tyres onto the grass in the braking zone and lost the rear, and if you've seen, a massive chunk of tyre wear took off the tyres, which is not what you want, because when you slide the car with ×15 tyre wear, it absolutely kills the tyres, and I did not want that. And then Tidgney has a little look on the inside. I get distracted by looking in the rearview mirror, totally miss a break in and run wide. Very similar to what I did at Fuji, but again, mistakes happen. I was trying to look in the mirror and look where Calster was, and I just totally missed the braking zone. So a mistake by myself, 100% my fault. And then Matt gets through there on the inside where I'm trying to concentrate on the getting the power down, but with going off the line, I've picked up a lot of debris on the tyres, dirty tyres and no grip at all. Now the tyres are really not feeling too good, to be fair. Obviously with the dirt on the tyres, the rear's starting to get a little bit loose. With that massive slide that we did also going into the chicane, it really took a lot of life out of my tyres, and now this race has gone massively downhill to being probably in a position where if I could just get past Calster, I had a fairly easy win, to be fair, to now being down into P6 and struggling massively because I've just took too much life out of my tyres, and maybe I should have been a little less aggressive, but I would rather be aggressive and try and find a way past than just sitting behind, because I think I need to try and make these races happen for myself. And unfortunately it didn't work in this one, but we've seen in previous races it has worked, and I'm sure that it will come back and reward me in the future in some races, as the pace again was 100% there. It was just a case of a few mistakes and just not being able to get past that Lamborghini, and maybe a mistake on the outlap which gave Calster the chance to get so close into the final corner. Maybe next time, if in a similar situation, I need to try and get a really solid outlap in on my first lap from the start and make sure that no one's in the slipstream, because that really did cost me a lot in this race. Because once I was stuck behind that Lamborghini, the tyres started wearing, sliding around. It took a lot of wear out of the tyres. I couldn't get past, and it's really massively affected my race. I think the race finishing time was such a massive difference to the practice race, as we can see there. Tidgney's actually gone past Calster, as Calster's made a mistake now in the braking zone. Looks like he's done pretty similar to myself, but not quite as bad. Didn't carry as much speed in. However, I ran onto the MotoGP track to avoid losing control on that really slippery tarmac. But you can see now Calster, we've got Calster in front again, now holding up Mac, and we're in the same situation where we're just going to get held up. You can see again, even though the Mercedes is a little bit faster than the Porsche, you're going to see now he's in the slipstream of that Lamborghini. He pulls out, and then all Calster has to do is stay to the right, and then he just loses any speed. You can see Mac just pretty much needs to tuck back in, if anything, but he just can't make the move done, because the Mercedes again isn't faster enough to get past that Lamborghini once you pull out the slipstream. And again, for myself, trying to look, see if I can get past somehow, but the tyres are massively feeling. You're going to see through this long right hand corner, look at the rear, started to go on me there where we were stuck in that slipstream, and I nearly lost it again there, but just about saved it. So I mean, there's lessons to be learned in this, but I feel like I went for it. I tried to be aggressive and get past Calster, but I literally tried everything I could. But Calster put up an amazing defence, driving a really good, solid first stint in that Lamborghini. So credit to him. But then we both made silly errors in braking zones, which really did wreck our race. I think I would have been able to hold on to second, I think, because obviously I would have had the slipstream with Calster and possibly have been able to make a move. Maybe I should, it's a hard one. If I would have held back and tried to look after the tyres, I would have then been vulnerable from cars behind, because they would have been getting my slipstream. So it's really hard to know what to do. As we see there, Mac cuts right across, Calster cuts right across Mac's front bumper, just about avoids hitting him. Bit aggressive on the defence, but it looks fair enough. Just about ahead and defends that line into the corners. Now obviously Calster down, holding up Mac, and to be fair, myself, not holding me up massively now at this stage. I think my tyres had seen their best days. You can see that rear left-hand tyre is so worn. It's just obviously been punished too hard in the efforts to get past Calster, and obviously the off-track moment, and obviously that big slide we had when Tidgney was right behind us. So a frustrating battle at the moment. You can see now I've going to go to the slipstream, but I've got a car on the right hand side, and that's another place loss. So that's down to the traction coming out of that final corner. Obviously the Mercedes so much better on its tyres, and I think our P6 spread nuts pitted on lap 6 as well, so he's got a lap fresher tyre, which is actually the equivalent of 15 laps fresher tyres. So in a much better situation now at the end of this race with light fuel, and that's paid off for him obviously with the mistakes that we've made. Without the mistake, I would have probably still been in P2 and possibly P1. Would I have been able to get past Calster towards the end? I don't know. I don't think the Porsche had the straight line speed to really get in the slipstream and make a move anyway. But now you can just see how much I'm struggling with this car in this final lap. The tyres are totally gone. The car is wanting to step out. Every slide that's happening is taking more tyre wear off, and it's just a really difficult situation now. I'm just trying to think about getting it home in P7 and not losing too much driver rating, as I knew I was going to lose it obviously after the mistakes that I made in this race. But like I say, I'm sure that we'll have races when things will go our way and we'll make that move. Maybe that, I think on was it lap 2, that opportunity I had to go back up the inside of Calster, I think I should have gone for that. The door was open, I was slightly alongside him, and I think I would have had better brakes than the Lamborghini, but I backed out of it, and maybe I should have went for it. But you can see now it's just a case of trying to get the car home now in P7. Calster really struggling now at this phase of the race. You can see how much this, obviously the 6-lap stint is affecting him also. Somehow managing to stay with these also with the tyre wear. P6 there in the Mercedes all over Calster, with obviously then fresher tyres and trying to put some pressure on it. You can see going into the accelerating zone, I had to back out a little bit there, as obviously the Mercedes getting held up a bit by Calster, but again through the final corner, a massive oversteer moment, just about held on to it. So an entertaining race, an enjoyable race to be fair, even though it was frustrating, but unfortunately down in P7, so not the greatest result. The win potential was there. I should have really have won that race, I felt. I definitely had the speed. It was just a case of not being able to get close enough to the Lamborghini in the straights. So unfortunately not the best points, but I'm sure we'll have races where we pick up more points in the future. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. I'm going to be back with more streams and more videos very soon. Hopefully streaming as much as possible through the week. Obviously coming up to the World Finals, trying to get a few streams in before the World Finals, and obviously there's a possibility I might start streaming some of these FIA races. I kind of want to test it out. I'm just worried about the connection, but maybe it's the time to test it is during the not so important season like now. So might test it out on the odd race or so, maybe not on both nations and manufacturer, maybe just the odd one, just to see how it runs, so I don't wreck both of them obviously. Anyway, thanks again for watching. You can see there we pick up just under 1,860 points. Not a great haul of points, but it's still better than nothing. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed, and make sure you click that notification button so you don't miss any future videos. Like I say, I do upload and stream as much as possible. Thanks again for watching, everyone.